malaria, dengue rate is increasing. And also you see, due to the high rate of breeding of mosquitoes, we are facing the problem of malaria. So environmental sanitation is another part of the human health. So we know the interconnectedness of life on Earth means that nothing we put into the ecosystem simply disappears. In other words, what we do to the planet, we do to, तो हम जो करते हैं, so that will come as a return to us. That means boomerang होके हमारे पास आता है. So nothing goes as waste. As we say, every action has the opposite and equal reaction. So pollutants reach human through the food we eat, the water we drink, and the air we breathe, and endanger our health in both immediate and long-lasting ways. Outdoor air pollution alone is associated with more than 1 million deaths and countless illnesses each year across the globe. Children and the elderly, the most vulnerable members of our society, are especially susceptible to toxins like mercury and pesticides. The environmental health is defined as a branch of public health that is concerned with all aspects of the natural and built environment that may affect the human health. So environmental health is defined as a branch of public health. As we say, public health means in general, the public, how they lead a healthy life with the clean and hygienic environment. Like we have the municipality systems to clean the sewage canals, the channels. We have the sweepers who clean the waste from everywhere on the street because it's a highly populated area. If any environmental pollution is there, environmental degradation there, so it will affect immediately our health. Even you see the hospitals. Hospitals is neat and clean, maintained each and every time because many people are there who are susceptible to many diseases, and also the infecting agents come from the patients. So you have to maintain a hospital hygienic environment. Otherwise, uh, हम जो we want to cure the disease in hospital, but in return we will also take the disease if we will not maintain properly. So that's why environmental is defined as the branch of public health that is concerned with all aspects of the natural and built environment that may affect human health. The environment and um, human health program aims to develop multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary capacity in order to resolve environmental problems that involve human health issues. The primary objective of the environment and human health program is to gain a better understanding of how we interact with our natural environment and what the consequences will be for sustainability of environmental goods and human health. And also the goal requires that we have the necessary multidisciplinary capacity capable of responding in an interdisciplinary way to resolve problems that are intrinsically interfacial in character. By effectively identifying and interconnecting the interdisciplinary elements, we will see the emergence of new ways of solving problems in what at present are seemingly unrelated areas of environment and human health. So the principal aims of the environment and human health program, like we say, identify and prioritize the research areas, encourage, grow, and develop, and facilitate the research community needed to tackle the real world inter and multidisciplinary problems we face globally. The results will be like to create a constituency for both inter and multidisciplinary work that will underpin our understanding of the links between the environment and the human health. Provide us with the better knowledge that will improve our ability to identify and predict emerging issues of potential concern. Improve the evidence base for risk assessment and regulation of activities needed by government departments and agencies and other stakeholders with the aim of improving the health of people globally. Then there are many factors that affect environmental health. Like we say, environmental health addresses all the physical chemical and biological factors external to a human being, and all the related factors influencing behaviors. So such factors as hygienic, unhygienic living conditions cause many diseases among the poor and uneducated people. The unhygienic living conditions arise due to lack of proper sanitation. Because of population explosion, there is overcrowding, and also as we are discussing yesterday, human population and the environment. Due to population explosion, so each sphere of the planet, like atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, are being polluted or are destroyed. So due to population explosion, there is overcrowding, that too many people live in crowded places. As I was saying, the population density is very high in cities, like you see Mumbai city, which is where it is having high density population. So, so due to the lack of proper education, a lack of awareness, people in the villages and slums in cities throw garbage here and there. Since there is no garbage removal system, garbage becomes accumulated, providing breeding grounds for mosquito and flies. As I was saying, so in the cities and all the cities and municipality areas, we have to clean regularly. Otherwise, there will be uh, highly spreading the diseases may come cause the problem along the general public. So in the absence of waste water management system, dirty water, domestic wastewater, including the cattle shed wastewater, toilet water, etc., accumulate in patches here and there, which provide the breeding ground for mosquitoes and other flies. So ponds and other water bodies in the locality become polluted by throwing of garbage, bathing of animals, cleaning of clothes by washermen, toileting on the sides, like you see in many public bus stands or railway stations. People don't maintain the toilets or hygienic environment. They don't flush properly. So it becomes a disease causing spreading or uh, launch pads. So people use such polluted water and suffer from health problems. So people burn fossil fuels and woods for cooking. The smoke from these sources pollutes the air. Thus, the soil, water, and air become polluted by the human activities, the localities of overcrowding. The diseases caused by environmental pollution because of lack of sanitation. So, we know and foodborne diseases. Sometimes if you take stale foods or foods contaminated with flies, or even you take street foods, who the hygienic environment where it has been made in non-hygienic environment, causes your stomach, gastrointestinal problems. So the common water and food diseases like gastrointestinal diseases are diarrhea, dysentery, cholera, amoebiasis, jaundice, etc. So these are caused by drinking unhygienic water and eating food without washing hands. So proper washing of the hands is must, we know. As we know in the school time, in a childhood, the teachers tell that whenever you are going outside, wash your hands and food, then go enter into home or take your food. Or at least if you have no not you have no costly or very high quality clothes, or so you use at least clean dresses. So because if you are not clean, you are not hygienic, then it will may cause problems. So maintaining hygienic environment each and every step of your life is very important. So the gastrointestinal diseases, diarrhea, dysentery, cholera, amoebiasis, jaundice, they occur. So these are caused by drinking unhygienic water and eating food without washing hands. So washing hands, you know how much it is important during the COVID-19 period. We must, every citizen must be aware. Whenever we are going out, not to touch anywhere, not to um, touch anything outside your home or outside your living place, because there is a fear of you are contaminating COVID-19 virus in your hand, and then if you touch your nose or ear, it will enter into your system. So poliomyelitis, viral hepatitis, typhoid are also the waterborne diseases. So insect-borne diseases like we say mosquitoes breed in accumulated water. They beat the people in the localities, spreading the diseases like malaria, filaria, encephalitis, like brain malaria, dengue, chikungunya, etc. These diseases are also the cause of overpopulation, lack of awareness, and education of the people, education of the poor people. Disease caused by parasitic worms. Parasitic worms like roundworms, hookworms, threadworms live in the mud and cow dung and lay eggs here there. So children of the poor families, usually play in the mud, and they eat also food without washing hands properly. Even in the childhood, must have seen many children take the soil into the mouth. So these causes the problems even okay. So as a result, they ingest the eggs of the parasitic worms along with their food. So hookworms enter into the bodies of people who walk barefooted or barefooted on infected land. Tapeworms infect the people who eat pork that is not properly cooked. Such diseases spread amongst the people who are poor and lack of awareness. The diseases caused by the environmental pollution because of lack of sanitation. So, the plague, kalaja, disease caused by noise pollution, the respiratory disease caused by air pollution. These are some of the major issues we face. So, plague, in the unhygienic condition, rats are infected by the plague. Flies that bite infected rats get the disease. People suffer from plague when they are bitten by the infected flies. Kalajar, when cattle sheds and poultry farms are in the vicinity of the house, sandfly grows there. People become infected by kalajar due to biting of these and sandflies. Diseases caused by noise pollution. The loud noise created in factories during festivals in busy roads from the high volumes of TV and radio damages the ears of human beings and cause deafness. Other noise pollution diseases are sleeplessness, nausea, ulcer, high blood pressure, lack of concentration, irritability, etc. Respiratory diseases caused by air pollution. No, the diseases like asthma, bronchitis, lung cancer are caused due to inhaling air pollution by smoke from burning of fossil fuels, dust particles, exhaust fumes on the automobiles, gases released from industries. Some of the chemical factors we know, like diseases caused by pesticides. Am I audible to you, all of you clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. So some chemical factors, like we say, diseases caused by pesticides. Farmers use pesticides for their crops. The pesticide fumes pollute air. Inhalation of pesticide fumes affect hormonal balance and cause even cancer. The pesticides also washed away by the rainwater and falls in the water bodies, thereby polluting water. People drinking such polluted water suffer from the waterborne diseases. Diseases caused by herbicides. Herbicides are used in the croplands to kill weeds. These herbicides cause skin diseases when ingested along with the fruits, etc., in human beings. Radiation, like exposure to radioactive substances and hazardous chemicals, like toxic chemicals, causes cancer. Tuberculosis, skin disease, etc., in human beings. Diseases due to climate change, like we say, some of the biological factors are there. In fact, the global climate is changing day by day due to human activities. Global warming due to temperature rise, unpredictable rains, frequent floods and droughts, heat waves and cold waves are the consequence of climate change. Because of climate change, we know human beings suffer from many diseases like malaria, spreads in warmer places as a tropical disease. The El Nino, which causes periodic warming, may affect rats and then the human beings. So, control of environment related diseases. From the previous discussions, as we learned that physical factors, chemical factors, and biological factors like mosquitoes, fly, rats causing disease in human beings arise mainly due to unhygienic conditions of the localities, poverty of the people, lack of education, and lack of awareness of the people. Because of human activities, the soil, air, and water get polluted, as a result of which people suffer from various diseases, as we have discussed above or stated above. In order to prevent environment-related diseases in society, people should be properly educated. As you know, education and awareness plays a very important role, and taught environmental awareness slogans so that they can make their living places most hygienic and healthier. Some of the occupational health, as I was saying in the beginning, so by profession, how we are get affected by the environmental contaminants or environmental scenarios. So there is a saying that good health is good for business, and better workplace have better financial results. So that we say health is wealth. First, if you have health, you can enjoy everything, you can do everything. But your health is not good, then the money or the everything that you have, assets you have, you cannot enjoy. Occupational health means work-related ill health. However, it deals with all aspects of health and safety in the workplace and has a strong focus on primary prevention of hazards. So the health of workers may be guided by several factors, such as risk factors at the workplace leading to cancers, accidents, musculoskeletal diseases, respiratory diseases, hearing loss, circulatory diseases, stress-related disorders, communicable diseases, and other. Communicable diseases means that are transferable from one person to another. So next come to occupational health problems occur at work, and these problems are as follows: like cuts, broken bones, sprains and strains, loss of limbs, repetitive motion disorders, vision problems, hearing problems caused by exposure to noise. We say printing press or some high noise creating machineries where people work, they generally suffer from hearing loss, or they cannot listen to small noise levels. Illness caused by breathing, touching, or swallowing unsafe substances. Illness caused by exposure to radiation, exposure to germs in health care settings. Occupational health problems arise because of the employment and working conditions, like working hours. If we work longer working hours, or due to the work stress, workload, also we face many types of stress related diseases, depressions, salary inequality. Suppose there are four people working in the same organization at the same capacity, but they are given different salaries. So this type of injustice also leads to different type of stress related diseases. Workplace policies concerning to that we're saying working environment. So workplace policies concerning to maternity leave in case of women workers, then health promotion and protection provisions, etc., like insurance schemes or security to life and other job related issues also sometimes leads to many type of diseases. Then communicable diseases and their control. The diseases that are transmitted from person to person through food, water, and animals are called the communicable diseases. Cause of communicable diseases, like we say, these diseases occur through transmission. Communicable disease transmission is a dynamic process which is dependent on the following, like interaction of the microorganisms with the host and the environment or environmental conditions. For the occurrence of a communicable disease, the following factors are present, like you say, microorganism of the sufficient strength or virulence, or we can say they are potent in creating the problems. A person who is susceptible, like lower immunity, like we say, in the COVID-19 people, the specific instruction was given to the people who are cardiac related, they are suffering from cardiac related problems or hypertension or blood sugar level. So those persons are were highly susceptible, because when the lung is infected, so it has paralysis or it dysfunction. So lung dysfunction is there. If lung dysfunction is there, so the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide to the body tissues are affected, or even your heart functions may be critical. That's why they are given special instructions. So they were the susceptible people. That means the COVID-19 that spreads through the air or any or it by contact you come across. So so that we know how at that time, if you are not, even people started to clean their notes, currency notes or the notes they when they bring from outside, as they wash them and dry them in the sun, then they use. or even people started to stop the using of currency notes or coins because it has touched many hands in the country or in the society. So people started only digital transaction. So this was also one of the strategies to manage the communicable diseases or to avoid the contact. So this is another type of maintaining your hygienic condition or maintaining your environment. An environment favoring the transmission of the agent. So this leads to many type of communicable diseases. So we have to avoid it, or we have to put some strategies to manage this. Then types of transmission of communicable diseases, like direct transmission. It occurs when an infectious agent enters a receptive portal, that is through direct contact as touching, kissing, biting, or in form of an air droplets by sneezing, talking, spitting, and coughing. Indirect transmission, like it occurs when an infectious agent is deposited on contaminated materials like toys, soiled clothes, bedding, cooking, or eating utensils, food, and water. Prevention and control measures, enforcing immunization laws and practicing universal precautions and blood-borne pathogens procedures according to school board policies and occupational safety and health administration regulations we have to follow. So immunization, like many times we give immunization programs to school children, free immunization programs. Because if you say money is will be there or is required to for immunization, then many people will avoid. So government specifically provides free immunization program to the children, child group up to 5 years, because they are if they are built very strong or disease free, not susceptible to diseases in the childhood, then they may grow at their capacity in the latter age. So then many free immunization programs like polio, जीवन के लिए जिंदगी के लिए 2 बूंद पोलियो की, or many types of vitamin A to avoid the color blindness. So iron free distribution iron tablets to the teenage girl students in the school or in Anganwadis. So many types of, so that they will not suffer from anemia or any nutrition deficiencies of iron. So implementing good hand washing procedures, like we that time COVID-19, you must have seen many video clips just popularized because how to wash your hands with the soap. So that many techniques were just spread, or it was um, provided to the public or the society for having an awareness on the hand washing. Then the cooperation of school personnel, here health department, physicians, parents, and teachers play a major role in preventing and controlling the spread of communicable diseases. So health department specifically gives some announcements of brochures, street advertisements, radio mass communication, radio, TV advertisements. Okay, the communicable disease prevention and control department has the following 4 units: immunization and vaccine preventable diseases, surveillance services, communicable diseases like infectious diseases including tuberculosis, sexually transmitted infection, blood-borne infections, respiratory infections, and emerging infectious diseases. Enteric, zoonotic, and vector-borne diseases are also some of the major disease patterns. So environmental sanitation, it refers to a collection of actions and policies aimed at improving or maintaining the standard of core of environmental conditions affecting the well-being of people. The environmental conditions include like a clean and safe water supply, clean air. Many times you must have heard in, I think, few months or 1 year back, the Raurkela city, now few months back in Bhubaneswar city in and around, due to the contamination of pipe water supply, due to the sewage water or anything, the people suffered from the diarrhea or the dysentery, and also some people have died also. I think there is a case in Raurkela. Susmita must be knowing if you are, as you are belong to Raurkela. So even we give the provision of clean water supply, but sometimes due to leakage or the bursting of the pipes, they get contaminated with the outside wastewater or the soil materials. So it also affects our environment. So it is goes unnoticed. So then it will create problem. The environmental concerns like clean and safe water supply, clean air, efficient and safe waste disposal procedures, protection of food from chemical and biological contaminants, suitable housing in safe and cool surroundings, etc. Then objectives of environmental sanitation, like we say, environmental sanitation comprises a set of action meant for improving living conditions, health conditions, and the overall quality of life. So it includes the treatment and disposal of human, industrial, and animal waste. It includes the control of disease vectors and provision of restroom facilities for personal hygiene. So environmental sanitation should have this type of facilities to promote the clean and hygienic environment for good health. Then environmental sanitation involves, on a broader scale, environmental sanitation involves limiting the environmental contributors that spread diseases. So we have to stop the contributors. So we have to check the contributors who contribute to the environmental diseases, environment related, pollution related diseases. Commercial food safety practices in public facilities such as farms and restaurants, hospital safety, and efficient waste removal. On a smaller scale, like it is the responsibility of the individual or head of household to instill effective personal hygiene practices. Environmental sanitation is a critical public health issue in developing nations and improvised urban areas. Areas deprived of clean water supply and effective waste removal and treatment practices are susceptible to widespread pollution and the enhanced expansion of infectious disease. Then hepatitis is the inflammation of the liver. It is most often caused by a viral infection. Types of viral hepatitis, we know there are five main types of viral hepatitis: A, B, C, D, and E. Hepatitis A, B, and C are the most common types in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Viral hepatitis goes away without any treatment, but in some cases, the virus will stay in the body and cause chronic infection. So hepatitis is a very serious issue. So that's why many times in the childhood also we're providing many vaccines. According to World Health Organization, hepatitis can be caused by drugs, alcohol, or other toxins by infection with bacteria, viruses, or parasites, or when the body mistakenly attacks the liver. That is an autoimmune disease. So according to World Health Organization, hepatitis A and E, although short-term, are acute viral infections typically transmitted through food and water contaminated by fecal materials. That's why drinking water supply must be away from the sewage systems, because by accident, if it get contaminated sewage system, then it will create a bigger problem for the society. The raw or undercooked food handled by people with soiled hands, and water contacted by animal or human waste are the primary sources of the hepatitis A and E. Hepatitis E is rare in the United States, but common in the other parts of the world. Hepatitis B is spread through exposure to the infected blood, through sexual contact with an infected person, or during childbirth, when the virus can be transmitted from mother to child. Hepatitis C is mainly spread through contact with the blood of an infected person. When people uh, uh, share needles to inject drugs, however, less commonly hepatitis C can be spread through a through, through the sexual activities or through the childbirth. So hepatitis D is also spread through contact with blood when people share needles to inject drugs, but infections with this virus only occur when someone is also infected with hepatitis B. So this type of regions must be if there are there we have to be cautiously behave. Then typhoid fever is an acute illness associated with fever which can be caused by Salmonella typhi bacteria. So typhoid fever can be caused by Salmonella typhi, related bacterium that usually causes a less severe illness. The bacteria are deposited in water or food by a human carrier and are then spread to other people by drinking or eating the bacteria in contaminated water or food in this area. The bacteria can survive for weeks in water or dried sewage. So we have to have a very careful management of the sewer systems, because so that it will not come in contact with the people or children's or even the environment. Malaria, is caused by a parasite called plasmodium, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum. So there are 5 species of Plasmodium which infect humans, like Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium malariae, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium knowlesi. So of these 5 species, Plasmodium falciparum infection is the most severe and cause death. Prevention of malaria, like we say, following precautions are followed to prevent malaria, like exclusion of following precautions are to be followed to prevent malaria, like exclusion of child care, exclusive child care, preschool, school or work is not required, but should be free from mosquito biting. Travelers to malaria-prone areas are advised to take preventive anti-malaria drugs. Since there is no vaccine to prevent human infection by the parasite, personal protections and the environmental arrangement of mosquitoes are to be taken care of in preventing illness. Up to 10% cases, it can be rapidly fatal. So pregnant women and children are especially at risk. Although other types of malaria are less severe, yet they may cause death. So the dengue virus is transmitted by a bite from an Aedes aegypti mosquito. Only the female mosquito transmits the dengue virus. The mosquito is a daytime biter, so both inside and outside homes, and is most active between the period of sunrise and sunset. The mosquitoes breed inside and outside the home in containers holding water and remain within 200 meters of the breeding sites. So they do not breed in creeks, swamps, pools, and other bodies of water. So we have to avoid the open the tires or broken glasses or broken materials where water can be stored in rainy season or in occasional rains in summer season. So then mosquito will not breed there. Then there is no specific antiviral treatment for dengue, but fever and pain can be controlled with the paracetamol rather than aspirin, and increasing fluid intake. Prevention of dengue, like following precautions are followed to prevent dengue. Exclusion from child care, preschool and school or work is not required, but should be free from mosquito biting. Travelers to dengue-prone areas are advised to take preventive drugs. Since there is no vaccine to prevent human infection by the parasite, personal protection and the environmental arrangement of to avoid the mosquitoes are to taken care of the preventing illness. Best practice is to have mosquito net to avoid mosquito biting in the night time, particularly in the malaria-prone areas. HIV stands for human immunodeficiency virus, and AIDS for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. HIV/AIDS is a disease of the human immune system caused by infection with the human immune deficiency virus. So HIV is a retrovirus, means a reactionary early virus which breaks down the body's immune system, and the victim becomes vulnerable to opportunistic infections, neurological disorders, or unusual malignancies. The victim may ultimately end up with the loss of life. AIDS is the last stage of HIV infection, so where we completely lack the immune system to fight any diseases. So ultimately, the victim dies. So how to prevent HIV or AIDS? Following precautionary measures are suggested to prevent HIV or AIDS. That is, use condoms during sexual activities, particularly when the partner is unknown. Avoiding sexual activity with many partners. Do not indulge in homosexual activities. Use disposable needle and syringes for blood transmission. Avoid intravenous drug abuse. Don't use razors, toothbrushes, or any skin piercing instrument used by HIV infected people or HIV infected persons. Women with HIV infection should avoid becoming pregnant because it is highly risky for the child. The role of information technology in environment and human health. So we know IT is one of the fastest growing technologies, and the role of IT is spreading as technological advances are progressing. So IT, you know how it had played a very significant role during the COVID time. So co-win app, we know co-win app में हम कैसे रजिस्ट्रेशन करके हमारे नियर बाई सेंटर के जाके हम वो कोविड वैक्सीन लेने के लिए very smoothly it was managed. So it is used in the development and application of computational tools to acquire, store, organize, achieve, analyze, and visualize satellite data, which are used for observation and protection of environment and human health. We know geographic information system, how or remote sensing technologies, how we are able to pinpoint any able to pinpoint an area. Okay, then or to have multi-layered analysis in a computer system software. Okay, so even we can analyze for health infrastructure, we can analyze for vegetation, we can analyze for soil characteristics, we can analyze for urban planning, we can analyze for watershed management. So many factors at a time. The maps can be overlaid, and a output or composite, or you can the final output or conclusion we can draw. Then the role of IT in environment, as I was saying, remote sensing and GIS provides data and knowledge about global environment as it is used for monitoring and mapping various natural resources. Ministry of Environment and Forest and Government of India has established Environmental Information System, shortly called ENVIS, in 1982 in different organizations for collection, storage, retrieval, and dissemination of environmental information to decision makers, policy makers, planners, scientists, engineers, environmentalists, researchers, and general public regarding pollution control, toxic chemicals, energy, biodegradation of waste, etc. Remote sensing and GIS help in determining the rates, causes, and scale of biodiversity loss by blending information of topographic sheets, vegetation maps, deforestation, land use patterns, and this information helps in biodiversity conservation. Remote sensing data can help in providing information of the incoming disasters like cyclones, earthquakes, floods, landslides, forest fire, volcanic eruptions. So now, as we are not able to predict the cyclone impact in which area where will be the landfall during the super cyclone 1999, we know what was the impact. People were ऐसे साइक्लोन बहुत होता है हम देखें, तो ऐसे बहुत कैजुअल से ले लिए वो मैटर को, फिर thousands and thousands of people died because of the very severe cyclone, or we can say super cyclone happened with the speed of 250 to 350, 300 kilometer per hour speed. Even the villages were completely uh, changed, so that even we are not able to recognize our village areas. Completely coconut trees, so complete devastation. Who know this history of super cyclone must be knowing, or you can just search how impact it was on the districts of Cuttack, Jagatsinghpur, Kendrapada, Bhadrak, Puri. So these are all affected. Then remote sensing data provide information on monitoring and managing both surface and groundwater resources to increase the water use efficiency. So groundwater table mapping, or where the groundwater is up to what level. So this type of mapping also is done. Role of IT in human health. Information technology helps in the development of biotechnology, genetic engineering, research and developments in drug technologies. So in human genome projects, IT is used in testing of DNA, creating DNA database, genetic information, so about population together with personal physical characteristics such as they are documented in Aadhaar, like eyeball characteristics, height, weight, and IT can be used for audio, visual, and data communications for medical consultation, nursing, and medical education. IT helps in spreading awareness about endemic, epidemic, and communicable diseases. Okay, like how the disease spreading patterns or where from the disease are come. So we can have a simulation models. Model study के लिए वो IT info technology is very useful. Through remote sensing and GIS, there is identification of several infested areas which are prone to diseases like malaria, based upon mapping of such areas. So here are some questions. You just mark it true or false. And message in the chat. 1 true, 2 false. Like this, you can send answers so that I'll see. Just have a small exercise. So question 1 is, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So question 1 is, respiratory diseases are never caused by air pollution. Whether it will be true or false?
False.
False. False.
False. Okay. Then question 2 is, herbicides are used as used in the croplands to kill insects.
True.
True.
It will be true or false?
Sir, it's
True,
True.
sir.
yes, sir.
How many of you are saying true and how many are saying false? All are true.
Sir, true. True, sir.
No,
No, no,
it is
no, sir,
false.
no, sir. Sorry,
Sir,
sir. Sorry, sir.
Sir,
It's false.
herbicides are used
Herbicide.
to kill herbs. The
हाँ, weeds है जोड़ा के मैं unnecessary herbs जोड़ा था. Okay, pesticides are used
Oh. Yes,
insects.
yes, sir.
Pesticides.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then question 3. Exposure to radioactive substances never cause cancer in human beings.
False.
False.
Because it happens.
Yes, sir.
The diseases transmitted from person to person through food, water, and animals are called non-communicable diseases.
False.
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 Communicable diseases.
Communicable disease.
Is a communicable disease. Okay. Then personal protective equipment should not be used at all times and maintained properly should not be used at all times, maintained properly for preventing occupational diseases.
True, sir. No, sir. False, sir. False.
False,
Should not be
false.
used. False.
Sir.
Should be used. Okay,
Yes,
it
sir.
should be used.
Yes, sir.
Then question 6.
Hepatitis is a
Question
long.
6.
Sir,
The false.
false.
Hepatitis is a long related disease.
False.
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 Why?
False.
That
False.
is not.
Why? Why?
Liver
It is liver.
disease.
Liver disease.
Yes. Yes. Right. So typhoid is caused by a virus.
False, sir.
Why? Why false?
Sir, bacterial.
Okay. HIV stands for human immunodeficiency virus.
True.
True,
sir.
true, sir.
Okay. AIDS stands for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome system.
True. True,
AIDS
sir.
stands for acquired immunodeficiency system.
Syndrome.
True, sir.
True, sir.
True.
Just see.
True or false?
Sir, false.
True.
What is
False.
false?
Acquired
True.
immunodeficiency.
True, sir. True.
Syndrome, it not syndrome. It
The
is
syndrome.
false.
Yes, sir.
System.
It is syndrome. Yes, sir. Syndrome. So, yes, sir. It's syndrome. So that
AIDS
it's
stands
false.
for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, not system. So it will be false. Okay.
Oh. Sir. No. False.
It is syndrome. That has been really
Yes, sir. Syndrome.
cleverly put the word system. So GIS stands for Geological Information System.
True.
The true.
How many students are there? 4 joined, na? 5. GIS stands for Geological Information System. True or false?
Sir, true.
It is false.
The
It is geographical information system. So
Okay.
Oh.
Geographic
false.
information. False.
Not geological
Okay.
information system. Hala? So it will be false.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So where this environment and human health topic can be applied? What are the application areas? What is the case study? Let us discuss. The intersection of environment and human health presents significant opportunities for business to address and create solutions. That benefit both the planet and public well-being. So here are several business applications in this area, like sustainable products and services, clean energy and technology, health and wellness industry, waste management and circular economy, water conservation and purification, ecotourism and green travel, corporate social responsibility, biotechnology and environmental health, environmental monitoring and data analytics. Okay. Business that focus on the intersection of the environment and human health not only help create a more sustainable and healthier future, but also capitalize on a growing consumer demand for eco-friendly and health-conscious products and services. This creates a win-win situation for the planet, public health, and business growth. So this can be applied here: fast sustainable product services, clean energy and technology, health and wellness industry, waste management and circular economy, water conservation and purification, ecotourism and green travel, corporate social responsibility, biotechnology and environmental health, environmental monitoring and data analytics. So let us come to the session summary. The interconnectedness of life on Earth means that nothing we put into the ecosystem simply disappears. In other words, what we do to the planet, we do to ourselves. Pollutants reach human through the food we eat, the water we drink, and the air we breathe, and endanger our health in both immediate and long-lasting ways. By effectively identifying and interconnecting the interdisciplinary elements, we will see the emergence of new ways of solving problems in what at present are seemingly unrelated areas of environment and human health. Effectively linking the impact of environmental change uh, through the various hierarchical levels of biological and social organization in order to understand the interaction between natural and social systems requires a pragmatic integrated approach. Undoubtedly, new developments and improvements in our scientific understanding of how environmental change impacts on the linkages between ecological integrity, environmental factors, and human health will aid us. We seek to develop an acceptable standard of living for many more people. So we have learned that the physical factors, chemical factors, and biological factors, including mosquitoes, flies, rats, causing diseases in human beings, arise mainly due to unhygienic conditions of the localities. Poverty of uh, the people, lack of education, and lack of awareness of the people are one of the also many causes of the diseases. Because of human activities, the soil, air, and water get polluted, as a result of which people suffer from various diseases, as stated above. The diseases that are transmitted from person to person through food, water, and animals are called the communicable diseases. Environmental sanitation refers to a collection of actions and policies aimed at improving or maintaining the standard of core of environmental conditions affecting the well-being of people. A disease that occurs or happens to occur at work or workplace is referred to as occupational disease. In other words, work-related diseases are the occupational disease. Nowadays, information technology is used in the development and application of computational tools to acquire, store, organize, achieve, analyze, and visualize satellite data, which are used for observation and protection of environment and human health. Information technology helps in the development of biotechnology, genetic engineering, research and developments in drug technologies. Then IT plays a major role for a better human health. That is, we say how co-in application or co-in app helped to successfully vaccinate the people of India. With this, thank you very much. So let us have a 5-10 minutes break. Then we'll start.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
सुष्मिता मैम, सुष्मिता मैम,
हेलो हेलो
आज्ञा मैम।
मैम सर जॉइन करी नहंती कि आसीबे बोधे हेबे ना
हाँ एबे आछि बोले जॉइन करनांती।
हाँ हाँ সেই ট্রু ফলসটা মজা লাগিলা নাই ମ୍ୟାମ୍
मैम आमे जेमति
ମୁଁ
ऑनलाइन
ସେଟାକୁ
क्लास रे
ସିଣ୍ଡ୍ରୋମ ସିଣ୍ଡ୍ରୋମ କହୁଛି ସେଟା ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଲେଖା ଅଛି ମୁଁ ଦେଖିନି
ମୁଁ ବି ସେମିତି ଜିଓଗ୍ରାଫିକାଲ ଟାକୁ ଜିଓଗ୍ରାଫିକାଲ ନ ଦେଖିକି ଜିଓଲୋଜିକାଲ
ହଁ
ଲେଖା
ହଁ
ହେଇଛି
ହଁ
ସେଟା ବି
ହଁ
ମୁଁ
ହଁ
ଦେଖିନି। ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଲାଗିଲା ଆମେ ଯେମିତି ଅନଲାଇନ କ୍ଲାସରେ ଛୁଆଙ୍କୁ ଇଣ୍ଟରାକ୍ଟ କରୁନା ସାର୍ ପୁରା
ହଁ ହଁ
ସେମିତି କରିଲେ ଛୋଟ
ହଁ
ଛୁଆଙ୍କୁ
ପୁରା
ସବୁ
ବହୁତ ଭଲ ଲାଗିଲା ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଲାଗୁଛି
ସାର୍ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ସାରଙ୍କର ପଢାଟା ବହୁତ ବ୍ରିଫ ଅଛି ସୁନ୍ଦର ଲାଗୁଛି।
ମାନେ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟିଙ୍ଗ ଲାଗୁଛି ଆଉ
ହୁଁ
ଶୁଣିଦେଲେ ବି ମନେ ରହିଯାଉଛି।
ହୁଁ
ସେ MEVE-13 ଆଉ 19 ଟା କେବେ କରିବେ କେଜାଣି କରିଦେଲେ ଥରେ ଭଲ ହେଇଥାନ୍ତା।
ହଁ ତା ମାନେ ପୁଣି ସେ ଯଦି ପରୀକ୍ଷା ପୂର୍ବରୁ କରିବେ ଜଷ୍ଟ ସେତେବେଳକୁ ପୁଣି ଆଟେଣ୍ଡ କରିବାକୁ ଟାଇମ ହେଲେ ତ
ନାଇଁ ଏବେ କରିଦେଲେ ଭଲ ହେଇଥାନ୍ତା ମ୍ୟାମ ଆମେ ଟିକେ ପଢିବାକୁ ଟାଇମ ମିଳିଥାନ୍ତା ଆମେ ଇଏ କରିଥାନ୍ତୁ।
ମୁଁ ବା ମ୍ୟାମ ସେଇ କଥା କହୁଛି ମାନେ ପରୀକ୍ଷା ପୂର୍ବରୁ ଜଷ୍ଟ କଲେ ଆମେ ପୁଣି ଆଟେଣ୍ଡ କରିପାରିଲେ ତ
ସେଇଟା ତ ଅସୁବିଧା।
come back?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, as I find your materials in IGNO, there is also a component called culture and environment. Okay. So, culture and environment, we know why we are linking culture and environment. Anybody can you say something about culture and environment? Why we are linking?
Sir, sir, our
Yes.
culture is, sir, from the beginning we are adopting our culture. So our
Yes.
culture is always related to our environment.
Yes. How it is linked? Please tell.
Sir, we are adopting it.
How we are adopting?
Sorry, sir.
You see, very give an example. As we know, in Odisha also, our many culture worship many, like we see sun. Sun is dedicatedly worshipped on Sunday, रविवार हम बोलते हैं ना
Yes,
रविवार रवि मीन्स क्या
Ravivar.
है सन है ना
Yes, sir.
तो
Yes, sir.
वी
Yes, sir.
वर्शिप द लॉर्ड सूर्य देवता को हम पूजन करते हैं तो उस दिन हम में भी कभी कभी कोई लोग जो नॉनवेज नहीं खाते हैं क्यों
Mm.
बिकॉज इट इज अल्टीमेट सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी like
Yes,
we
sir.
see we take the we worship many plants in many occasions okay
Yes, sir.
like when we are doing any worship we take the doob we take the leaves of different like we say mango twig is also taken so
Yes,
this way we are linked to nature like you see the Raja the main festival of India Odisha western Odisha
Odisha, sir.
particularly
Sir.
we worship the earth because
Yes,
we don't hurt these 3 days just we keep it all clean and then last day we just worship the भूमि पूजन होता है लास्ट डे मॉर्निंग में जो फोर्थ डे के मॉर्निंग में
yes,
नहीं
sir.
तो
Yes, sir.
उधर से बसुमती पूजा ओडिया भाषा में कहले बसुमती पूजा ताकू
Yes,
so
sir.
because it is linked so our culture टा गोटे बहुत depth and we know the tulsi plant we know why we move in the morning women particularly move around the tulsi plant worshipping and watering the plant because it is very useful and it cures many diseases okay so we will plant the noise is coming from side somebody Shruti Rekha, noise is coming from your side I think
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
mute mute yourself so we will plant the neem plant tree in and around our home because we know neem plant is very sacred. It has many disease curing ability. You know, in this way, actually, we see that many uh, plants are linked to our society. So human beings are not born with predetermined notions of identity, gender, or values. All human beings, as children, learn, observe, and adopt their behaviors from parents, peers, and role models. Personality, habits, belief, and traits are shaped by environment and culture. Culture is the way of living by a specific group, which is a key influence in constructing beliefs and choices and values. The distinctness in culture included this difference of daily experiential living. Culture is constantly carried over the next generations. Thus, people have similar principles even in today's age of technology. Okay, you know the ISRO chairman Somnath ji also go to temple for worshipping before any space missions to pray for the success, to pray for the blessing of the Lord God. So as we do any work, any good work by worshipping or welcoming the goddesses into our environment or into our spirit. So as we have read, culture is transmissive and is spread through modeling of behavior and language as human adopt and adapt. So humans with proximity tend to influence each other, and sharing of language is also a part of cultural transmission. Biological factors, though, are projected to be the main precursor to shaping personality, but do not really fully account for variance in behavior. Culture is connected to and shaped by ecology, okay, which determines socialization patterns and are responsible for personality variance. This means personality is a combination of the influence of culture and environment. Suppose it is very hot weather, so you are irritated, but it is a very pleasant, rain has happened, is very cool, breeze is flowing. So your emotions, your personality change, you don't become, you feel pleasant. So environment has a direct impact on the socialization among people. Family is the first level of social process, and behavior of parents can have a huge influence on shaping personality. It has been observed that in cultures where parents offer comfort, emotional stability, high self-esteem, positivity will be recognized and practiced among the children. In case of parents who are rejecting children belonging to that environment adopt negative views. Environment understood as nature and environmental factors play a great role in the lifestyle. All traditional societies of the world have a very strong bond with nature and natural cycles. This is visible in rural societies when culture and traditions um, uh, are still based around harvest cycles, festival associated with changing seasons. Food is also closely connected with cultural bonding. Staple food is seasonal and is directly affected by the um, environment in that geographical area. Societal influences also align people to living patterns that neighbors have adopted. Uh, in a close knit village, everyone more or less will practice similar patterns of daily life response. Natural factors like the weather lead to choices of appropriate attire. One would feel out of the context if he or she wears silk in place of where it is perpetually hot. So human beings are influenced by socialization, but at individual level experiences and lifestyle also shape individual personality. In conclusion, personality traits emerge during childhood are influenced by a multitude of elements. Personality traits are derived from the both environment and cultural aspects of life. Each individual's character is shaped majorly by life experiences, and the unique life experiences which occur for each person individually when emerge collectively create the um, different traits which then are transferred from generation to the other, one generation to the other. Thus culture and environment will shape people's lifestyle over generations. Different kinds of culture and environment, like you said, tribal culture, are some of the cultures which is closely linked with the forest resources, because forest resources, forest life cycles, or availability of fuel wood generally controls the living style. So India is home to many unique tribal cultures. Warm hospitality, simple ways of living, sincere judgment of the opinions are some of the traits and mark the tribal culture of India. Their custom depicts their sincere belief in simplicity. Indian tribes have their own gods and goddesses and customs. So you see some of the tribal societies like Bishnoi movement, we must have heard Bishnoi movement. Okay, the Bishnois are born nature lovers and considered as the first environmentalists of India. We know reverence and respect for nature along with all forms of life is what makes them a true Bishnoi. So for centuries, their way of combining eco-conservation with faith makes it one of the most ecologically relevant orders of today. Vishnuism is said to have started in 1485 AD by Sant Guru Jambal Sora in the Thar desert of Rajasthan, India. Long before the world came to know about the environmental crisis, Bishnoi visionaries understood man's relationship with nature and the importance to maintain its delicate balance. So it is remarkable that this section thought about environment issues half a century ago. By far, no other religious order has given so much importance to protection and care of the environment. Guru Jambaleshwar ji recommended 29 principles to become Bishnoi. The word Bishnoi stands for Bis, which means 20, and Noi means 9. Derived from these 29 principles, out of which uh, uh, six principles are dedicated to environmental protection and compassion for all living beings. The famous Chipko movement, we must have heard one of the environmental movements by Sundarlal Bahuguna, was inspired by a true story of a brave lady called Amrita Devi Bishnoi, who refused to let the king's men cut the trees. So they just encircled the trees and they didn't allow for the cutting down of the trees. Her head was injured severely. Seeing their mother lay down her life for the trees, her daughters clung to them. Their heads were also severe too. Agitated by the happening, the neighboring villages clung to the trees as the massacre continued. More than 300 people were killed for non-obeisance and for trying to protect the trees. So when the king came to know of this, he was ashamed of his mistake. The king apologized to the Bishnoi community, ordered stop cutting down the trees and hunting of wild animals in the Bishnoi area, and punished those who transgressed his orders. The government of India also give the Amrita Devi Bishnoi Smriti Paryavaran Award for contributing to environmental conservation. So the Bishnois are one of the first organized proponents of eco-conservation, wildlife protection, and green living. With their ideal steeped in basic 29 religious tenets, the Bishnois and Bishnoism are very relevant to materialistic ideals of today's world. Bishnoism lays emphasis on protecting the gifts of God, uh, nature, since the religion is based on love, peace, respect for life, and non-violence. It champions harmony against amongst trees, animals, and human beings, which is a perfect ecosystem in balance. The Bishnois, in spite of living in the arid desert regions for centuries, are rightfully called the first environmentalist of the India. They have given more to nature in comparison to many modern day environment movements. They strictly follow the following dictates, like which are part of their religious principles. Bishnois do not cut green trees and are compassionate to all living beings. The Bishnoi settlements are made from materials gathered locally. So the only collect dead wood, even a carpenter waits patiently for the tree to fall. So they don't cut down the young and live trees. To combat the severe drought and water shortage, the Bishnois build water storage tanks that can collect and store rainwater. This water is not only for humans but animals too, a lesson for equitable distribution of water resources. So, like in summer, we put some pots with water for the wild animals, birds to drink. To combat the severe drought and water shortage, the Bishnoi build water storage tanks. Okay, deers, black bucks, peacocks, blue bulls, chinkaras are protected by the Bishnoi communities. These animals are not allowed to be hunted, and therefore have survived so long around their settlements. To avoid wastage of firewood, they bury the deceased. Okay, so instead of burning the dead bodies of human beings, so they bury the deceased, those who die. To minimize the use of green trees, they use cow dung cakes as fuel for cooking. They believe in the dignity of both man and animal. One of their principles, like Amar Rakhave That means to provide shelter for abandoned animals so that they can live the rest of their life with dignity. They do not believe in idol worship, but in worshipping the gifts of nature. So, so they believe in worshipping the animals, worshipping the trees, worshipping the Mother Earth, not the god goddess, the statues. The Bishnoi community, a tribal settlement in Thar Desert, living in harsh conditions, struggles to make a living, still wants to protect and preserve the resources that could have been exploited as a key to their prosperity. Bishnois do not believe in unnecessary rituals, idol worship, caste systems, but continually they lay emphasis on compassion, love, and peace, and a unique bond with Mother Nature. Their lifestyle and simple approach to life is the key to their unique philosophy. The Bishnois are very protective of their surroundings and are known to be violent in course of its protection. They do not tolerate destruction of flora and fauna by unnatural means. They have been fighting court cases, poachers, and any threat to the environment they cherish, even if it means fighting a neo-capitalist system which protects the rich and famous like Salman Khan, the popular actor. The Bishnois are sole crusaders in the protecting of black buck and chinkara, which come under Section 9 of the Wildlife Protection Act. So otherwise, this species would have vanished like other species. The Bishnoi traditions are also being passed on to their next generations. So another part of the culture and society is sacred groups. We know sacred groups means the holy places, like you can say some like Nusinath and Harishankar on the Gandhamardan hills of Western Odisha, that is in Bargad and Balangir. So many holy places are there. In the respect of nature, we don't take a leaf even or the plants, so that we fear that God will curse us or God will make us harm. So traditional knowledge of most ancient communities emerged from observing nature. Groups like are part of this ancient way of life of man. Groves are the relic forest patches preserved in the name of religion or culture as observed in many societies. They are reported from many countries extending from Asia, Africa, Europe, and America, but their present occurrence is mostly restricted in Africa and Asia. In India, groves are present from northeast Himalayas region, western Ghats, eastern Ghats, coastal region, central Indian plateau, and western desert. The grove tradition is a way of preserving diverse range of ecosystem with its regional and local identities as represented in the game, name, practices, and management of groups. So sacred groups, one form of nature worship, are considered as sacred and natural sites as per definition provided by IUCN. So IUCN, we know, International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. So dating the historic time period, nature worship as was a primary custom. This tradition was quite evident in every continent as represented in the culture. The religion and social norms of traditional societies. The nature worship has various forms. Divinity could be assigned to any place or natural elements, that is stone, rock, mountain, river, jungle, etc., or plant or animal, depends on culture and religious practices of a society. These practices were mostly viewed through socio-religious and anthropological aspects of the society by the sociologists, anthropologists. The resurgence of worldwide interest in nature worship has increased manifold nowadays, mainly due to the realization of importance of these community-based practices in nature and natural resource conservation. Indian sacred groups have pre-Vedic origin and divinity attached to them. Most of them are associated with indigenous or tribal communities who mostly believe in divinity of nature and natural resources. Therefore, distinctly different from the latter icon-oriented mainstream religions which emerge in agricultural systems. So there are also exceptions when a society understands the importance of natural resources and initiates a way to protect it with groves. The Western Ghats, we know, region is a good example. Unlike a tribal community, the culture of sacred group was predominant in these agro-pastoral communities. Okay. So in this region, the expansion of agricultural and human settlements destroyed vast tracts of forest land. This resulted in gradual washout of fertile topsoil, depletion of water resources, and loss of local biodiversity. This change affected livelihood to a great extent. The adverse consequences made them realize the importance of forest ecosystem in soil and water conservation as well as livelihood security. Ultimately, this realization manifested in the form of protection of remaining forest patches under various socio-religious norms. Sacred group studies in India are also categorized into three time periods. There is a great scope of research in the area of sacred groups and human sociological aspects related to nature. After the declaration of Convention on Biological Diversity in 1992 or Rio Conference or Earth Summit, the importance of sacred groups in nature conservation has been increased manifold. Community-based conservation initiatives are one of the prime agendas for this initiative, CBD, for which sacred groups tradition reflects community involvement. The interconnection of sacred groups in socio-religious life with livelihood security established by indigenous communities are also substantiated and supplemented with numerous local customs, folklore, social and religious throughout the Indian history across various geographical locations. The serious introspection of cultural norms, values of both, as yesterday I was saying, value, education, and environment. So, values of both human and animal life, environment in traditional social cultures, and traditional wisdom, especially in tribal communities, will reveal the um, wisdom of ancestors to protect nature's wealth for future generations. Then another, we know what are the factors of social change. Like we say, physical environment directly impacts and places certain limitations upon social life. So the relationship between environment and society is very complex, and human cultures and civilizations have tried to adapt themselves and well as transform the physical environment for their social living. However, environmental factors can have profound impacts upon the course of human civilization. Some historians have argued that unfavorable environmental conditions were responsible for the decline of the great civilizations of Egypt and Mesopotamia. Similar speculations are made regarding the Harappan civilization. The exploitation and depletion of natural resources has resulted in pollution, greenhouse emissions, and climate change, crisis of potable water, etc., resulting in large-scale migrations, destruction of human settlements. Similar impacts can be observed when natural disasters such as earthquake, tsunami, floods also take place. So we know some demographic factors, like if already yesterday I was discussing population growth or population explosion and environment. Population growth, fertility, mortality, migration, changing age structure, male-female ratio, age of marriage, patterns of marriage, childbearing age, life expectancy, use of contraceptives, levels and types of morbidity, etc., have a far-reaching effect on society with the pressure to produce changes in social and political institutions. In the developed countries of the world, the low and declining population growth is a cause for concern, as the number of aged and economically unproductive people must be supported by the working age population. In countries with rapidly increasing populations, the problem of providing for basic needs, education, employment, etc. to all are magnified, and result is like we say many social problems and challenges come up. Thus, population itself is an aspect of social change and environmental scenarios. So there are also some technological factors, like as I was discussing in the previous session, that information technology and environmental changes or environmental research or environmental study is very closely related, and also many social issues are addressed very accurately with the technological advance like we discussed. So advances in science and technology are also important factor of social change. Not only do they affect the material environment, but they also impact social structure, institutions, and lifestyles. Take the example of internet and mobile telephonic, or as I was saying, information technology, for instance. They have made it possible for persons to access information, connect with each other across spatial and temporal barriers, and created an information revolution. This has had a huge impact upon how we work, our social relationships, consumption patterns, and political opinions. Karl Marx was one of the important classical thinkers who tried to explain social changes by considering the material or technological basis of society. Then some cultural factors are also there, like you say, changing cultural values, ideas, beliefs have a profound impact on changing social institutions and human behavior. Max Weber, an eminent German thinker and social theorist, connected social change with ideas and values, most famously in his study of capitalism and industrialism titled The Protection Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism. Weber noted that it was a particular kind of religious ideology and lifestyle of the Calvinist Protestants that proved conducive for the growth of capitalism. Their religious beliefs promoted hard work, thrift, a very frugal lifestyle, and the desire to glorify the world as desired by God. They shunned luxury and wasteful expenditure and put their profits back into industry. So this resulted in investment and capital formation. With reference to India, Max Weber believed that the Hindu values and beliefs, traditional caste values, etc., were the major hindrance to the development of capitalism or in India. So then you see process of social change, like how the society have changed with the modification of the environmental setups. Like we went for industrialization, we went for modernization, and we went for secularization and globalization. So the process of industrialization and modernization are linked, and modernization in sociology refers to the transformation of a traditional rural agrarian society to a secular urban industrial one. As we know, our history of environment. So first we are in hunting gathering society. Then we learned about the plants. We learned got experiences. So we tried to or we improved into the agricultural society. Then agricultural society, in addition to the population growth, put more demand on the products. So we tried to apply society, go to industrial society to produce industrially more products to fulfill the demand within the short period of time instead of not depending on the nature. After the industrialization, we tried to change in software technology or information technology. So technologically advanced society. So how this modernization in sociology refers to the transformation of traditional rural agrarian society. Agrarian means agriculture-based society to a secular urban industrial society. Historically, the rise of modern society went hand in hand with the emergence of industrial society. The defining features of a modernity are seen to be related to the various changes that took place due to the onset of industrialization in the 19th century in Europe. Thus, we can say that industrialization or industrial society are not just economic and technological in nature, rather they include profound economic, social, political, and cultural changes. The Industrial Revolution in Europe and subsequently the growth of industrialization in the non-Western and developing world marked a major historical moment, setting off a wave of changes in almost all aspects of life, work, housing, family structures, leisure, healthcare, and medicine, class, caste, and gender relations, and political process. One of the most significant changes because of industrialization was the huge increase in population as a result of declining death rates due to advances in science and medicine and a more regular and food supply. Europe's population doubled during the 18th century from roughly 100 million to almost 200 million and doubled again during 19th century to about 400 million. However, over a period of time, as the industrialization resulted in widespread movement of people to towns and cities, or we say urbanization, birth rate also began to decline and the population increase stabilized. So a similar pattern was also observed in Japan, where industrialization took place after 1870 and in the erstwhile Soviet Union from the 1880s onwards. However, in most of the developing countries, including India, the demography transition, or we say the population growth curves, um, the demographic transition and huge explosion in population continued uncontrolled. People under 15 made of more than 40% of the population of the third world, world as compared with between 20 to 30% in the industrialized world. Third world means underdeveloped, developing countries. In the industrialized world means the developed countries. So it was argued that birth rate remained high in these societies, particularly because industrialization was so slow and in the underdeveloped world. In addition, where any significant development had taken place, as in Brazil or Malaysia, it had only really affected a small elite. The mass of the people was untouched. Thus, the regions people in the industrialized West chose to have fewer children, lacked cogency in the underdeveloped countries. It remained rational for the bulk of the population to continue to have large families, both to share in manual labor and to provide security for parents in their old age. Lower fertility would come, it was argued, when wealth was more evenly distributed and social security systems. So in India, rapid industrialization was taken off by the national governments as the surest way to break out the trap of poverty and misery that had resulted from 2 countries of colonial rule. The emphasis on public sector driven heavy industry and infrastructure creation was particularly emphasized in the second 5-year plan, like 1956 to 61. The control of the state in the economy continued through the 1970s and part of the 1980s. However, it was in 1991 that the crucial decision towards liberalization and opening of the economy was taken. This is associated with the process of globalization, which we shall discuss in more detail further as we go for discussion industrialization and urbanization. So coming to industrial and urbanization, like we say, industrialization and urbanizations go hand in hand. So as we go for industries, so people migrate to the work in the industries and they settle there, they build their homes, etc. So we go for urbanization. As we have seen the expansion of Bangalore city, as the software companies colonized, software companies went on growing very fast. In 1800, only 2.5% of the world's population lived in cities with a population of 20,000 or more. By 1965, this had increased to 25%, and by 1980, it had reached 40%. By this measure, slightly less than half of the world's population could be classified as urban in 2000. So this trend has been accompanied by a great growth of large cities of a type virtually unknown in the pre-industrial world. In the 1800, the world's largest city, Beijing, and 101 million inhabitants. Okay. inhabitants. 100 years later, the world's largest city was London with 6.5 million people. Cities of more than 1 million inhabitants numbered 16 in 1900, while it became 67 in 1950, 215 in 1985, and in 2000, 16 cities had a population exceeding 6 million. So we know today metropolitan centers in India, or metro cities in India, have large populations like Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, Kolkata. So while urbanization is associated with a modern lifestyle, it also brings with it extreme poverty, lack of proper sanitations or proper living conditions, development of slums, um, where the children or the people don't get sufficient good environment for their growth, for their living day-to-day life. So increase in crime and antisocial activities also go on. Marital and family breakdown to decline of the moral values and feelings of anonymity and isolation are common. From an environmental perspective as well as human one, unplanned urbanizations resulted in severe degradation in the quality of air, water, and soil. The emergence and spread of new disease, generation of hazardous waste materials, breakdown in law and social order, and rising social inequalities are threatening social solidarity and stability. Further, urbanization has led to changes in the socio-cultural patterns and interpersonal relationships. The individual is a free agent and can make independent decisions and break away from traditional bonds and obligations. While this can promote freedom, creativity, and innovations, it can also result in isolation, loneliness, and depression. Mental health issues have become an area of concern. The writing in the Indian context, if you see industrialization, urbanization, and modernization have had an impact on traditional hierarchical like caste systems. The cities provide avenues for people to break away from caste-based livelihoods and seek various kinds of modern employments. So migration to the city thus becomes an important route of social mobility and social change. It has also had a major impact on gender, as more and more women are coming out of the four walls of the home and seeking education and employment opportunities. Then you see some secularism and globalization. So another important process associated with modernization is the process of secularization. By this, we mean that the impact of science, technology, and rationality permeates social institutions, freeing them from control of religious thinking. So to give an example, in traditional or pre-modern society, illness and disease may be linked to supernatural cause, like the spirits of ancestors, evil spirits. So people in the ancient time, even you go back to 30 years or 40 years back, people worship the deity of their village, and they take the patient to the deity and just put down there, please cure my child, cure my girl, or cure my husband or wife. They don't go to hospital. Even nowadays, the snake bites are being treated by the local Vaidyas, or by those who are believe in superstitions. So this is also now still existing. So supernatural cause and the spirits of ancestors, evil spirits. To placate these spirits, people may take recourse to the priest or witch doctor, or undertake religious rites and rituals to appease the gods. However, modernization leads to the replacement of the supernatural religious belief systems with the laws of modern science. Thus, sickness would be viewed in terms of certain biomedical variables, such as exposure to disease causing germs, and treatment would be based upon a scientific protocol. While we continue to see the impact of religious beliefs and systems, the rise of other institutions such as political system, education, science and technology, the legal system, etc., dislodge religion from its central role as an organizing principle for society as a whole. Religious practices increasingly take the form of individualized activities, no longer retain the important legitimating power that they have in non-industrial societies. The expansion of industrialization, the standardization of the production process, the expansion of transport and communication, international trade, migration of people, products, and ideas across the world, and the creation of a political world order through the formation of international organizations and coalitions made the world a more interconnected place. The term globalization, we know, has been used to connect connect these interconnectedness of economic, cultural, and political process and systems. The sociologist Anthony Giddens refers to globalization as the intensification of worldwide social relations, which links distant localities in such a way that local happenings are shaped by events occurring many miles away and vice versa. So, Wagendra Singh 2000 elaborates the following dimensions of globalization, like revolution in communication technology. As I was saying in the previous session or presentation, that revolution in communication technology and rendering global circulation of messages and symbols in the shortest possible time, and proliferation and diversification of technological means for doing so. Circulation of finance capital on global scale, searching for markets and economies of scale through international division of labor and structure of wages with introduction of high technology. Homogenization of consumer products and market processes, both in the realms of commodities and cultural symbols, styles, and behavioral patterns. Enlargement of the scope of electronic media through telephony, television, fax, email, internet, etc., influencing political values, ideologies, and movements. An intense degree of circulation of manpower across countries and cultures, leading to homogeneous cultures on the one hand, and an elevated sense of cultural identity and distinctness on the other side. So no doubt uh, globalization has been a major driver of social change and development in contemporary times. Globalization operates in the domains of economic, political, and socio-cultural process. Economic globalization is the increasing economic interdependence of national economies across the world, facilitated by the rapid movement of goods, services, technology, and capital. The standardization of international trade regulations, reduction of trade barriers, tariffs, taxes, etc., have also led to globalization of business, thus resulting in the formation of an integrated global world markets into a massive global marketplace. The growth of shopping malls in developing countries, imitating the shopping experience of the West with a variety of international brands, multinational food and retail chains, further marginalize local small scale economic activities and integrate them into a global system. Multinational and transnational corporations, the growth of free trade zones, and the globalization of trade and services through business processes outsourcing are some of the significant manifestations of economic globalization. With regard to political globalization, the emergence of the contemporary nation state, colonization, imperialism, the world wars, the growth of international institutions like United Nations Organization, and the unequal power relations on the global stage have been noted and studied in detail. Regarding environmental issues and international debates and discussions on these, we see that the developing countries are often forced to pay the heavy price for the unsustainable practices adopted by the rich countries. Recent debates on climate change are a good example of these international disparities and inequalities. With reference to cultural globalization, we see the spread and influence of language, culture, fashions, food, music, popular culture, especially with the arrival of internet technology or IT technology, information technology. We see the flow of ideas and cultural artifacts tends to be from west to the west. The Americanization of the contemporary culture has been remarked upon by the scholars. George Richer, 1990, wrote about the McDonaldization of society, using the name of the global fast food chain McDonald's. Hollywood films, American television serials, popular music, performers have gained a global popularity and reach. Cultural imperialism has thus transformed tastes, desires, and aspirations. From the Indian perspective, as we know, we can also speak of the global outreach of Bollywood and popular Hindi cinemas, particularly to the population of diasporic Indians across the globe in different countries. The pan-Indian popularity of Bollywood cinemas finds a reflection in fashions, fads, and cultural practices across the country. You must have seen previously, it is not very trending now. Previously, many films, maybe in local language, Odia, Bengali, or South Indian, or Hindi, they reflect the culture and environment of our scenario, or we can say religious occasions. They are based on the stories of these films. So it reflects our environment. It reflects our geological, or we can say ecological systems also are reflected a lot. Then thus the media industry also, along with global brands, promote a lifestyle which is based upon conspicuous consumption. This has an adverse impact on the local customs, practices, and traditions that have developed over generations and in harmony with environmental conditions. The above discussion has attempted to highlight how the mutually interconnected and reinforcing process of industrialization, modernization, secularization, and globalization impact social change and development. In the next, we'll discuss on other aspects of environment and society, particularly in the we say I can say in the next class, I think in the coming two classes sessions, we'll discuss on the environment in ancient and modern societies, how it had happened, what was the progress. We'll discuss. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So let us meet tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
sir. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.